afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Saturday, February 19th, 2022, a little after 3 p.m. Eastern. This universe is always working for us, never against us. This is just our mind that is feeling paranoid. The more we can trust this truth, the easier our life becomes. It's kind of like making this your mantra. Life is happening for me, not to me. Life is happening for me, not to me. When you embody this in every conversation that you have today, your perspective opens and ignites an awareness that surpasses all fear. So go ahead and surrender to this universe and its outrageous magnificence. Trust that it is on your side and that it truly loves you and knows what is in your highest interest more than you do. Allow it to take care of everything for you. Notice how good it feels to totally let all the stress go and let in the love. Everything rests on our perspective, how we view things, how we respond to things, what we think, what we feel. All of that energy is emitted and attracts. There is no debate with it. Poverty is a choice that people make every day, whether they are aware of it or not. It's the choice to be uncreative, feel limited in resources, thinking inside the box, feeling disconnected from God, smaller than life, deeply powerless, incapable of receiving love, and not believing that anything is possible, not believing that anything is possible. Poverty thinking is a dis-ease. Poverty thinking is a dis-ease, an unconscious choice that is based in the ignorance of our true divine manifesting powers. This unawareness is the one deciding factor as to whether someone continues to remain broke and is struggling for another year or starts to shift their energy into receiving a new online income next week. The moment you choose to believe in any poverty-based thought, you start thinking more small, limited, and negative thoughts about life. It has a snowball effect to it, where you begin to attract more limiting thoughts based in the misunderstanding that this universe is not an infinite, all-loving, powerful playground. When negative thinking becomes your habit, you begin to invent thoughts that support your old poverty-minded thoughts. The repetitive cycle of poverty thinking is a social dis-ease that festers and feeds upon itself. Every time we identify with the poverty mindset and in other persons who thinks that there is not enough, we slowly inherit and mirror their disease. So understand that every time we identify with the poverty mindset in other people or person, in another person who thinks that there is not enough, we slowly inherit and mirror their dis-ease. By accepting the limiting beliefs of others, we forget our original abundant nature and stop realizing that who we really are, all-powerful manifesting beings. The moment we can understand the foundational lie that poverty is based upon, and take full responsibility for the suffering we are creating through our choices, then we can begin choosing a new path and acting from an abundant, manifesting mindset to create a new world. It's good to know that poverty thinking is not our original nature. Our real inherent nature has no boundaries or limitations on what is possible and what isn't. This original abundant mind is something we were born with and is rooted in knowing that we are all absolutely loved, free, and totally abundant. Poverty consciousness is a limiting mindset that was inherited by our community in order to be accepted, fit in, and welcomed into the social norm. We often would rather be accepted by others than seen as an outcast who is believing they are bigger, better, and richer. If your friends, family, and community never had any poverty thoughts on any level, you wouldn't have it either. You would only know that abundance was your birthright. When you become the deepest valley of reception, then the highest peaks of consciousness can be given to you. Only a valley can receive a peak, Osho. What happens when you connect with people who are struggling financially? You always find that there is one thing they have in common. They all continuously choose to support their old limiting thoughts and negative beliefs around money, rather than actually doing something radically different and exciting to move through them. People live and hide underneath their excuses. They become cowards to discovering their real power, hiding behind their pride rather than revealing and healing their feelings of fear, self-judgment, and financial intolerance. Each time their mind unconsciously creates this pattern, a desperate, needy response to life, this universe has to respond accordingly, manifesting a similar situation. The habit becomes so natural that they have to do something very radical to alleviate this perpetual addictive state of financial frustration. They have to accept the fact that they are a powerful manifesting being who has totally stopped following their old excuses and is now choosing to live a life that is continuously moving through the fear. Remember, the impoverished mindset is one that continuously resists fear, controlling the emotions and creating distractions so they do not have to feel their fear. This type of controlling energy tends to say no to life, denying new ideas, opportunities, and people. It abides in a feeling that there is never enough to go around, and we must complete or compete, suck it up, and live a life of compromise if we are to survive. It thinks you must stick to doing your duty, live in obligations, always work hard, struggle to survive, and not think too big just so we don't upset others. It's in this very uncreative approach to this life that people escape from their true power and get to be irresponsible for their real life purpose, which is to know themselves as the divine, all-powerful, manifesting beings they truly are. Poverty thinking is the one dis-ease that can completely destroy the great potential of love and joy our lives contain. People continue choosing to play small, helpless, lazy, abandoned, unloved, and unwanted because there's nothing they can do about it, and it is their destiny. It's actually a very selfish, self-absorbed way to live, never considering how to help out others and thinking only of yourself and how your desires, wants, and needs are not quite fully met. Poverty consciousness is perhaps the most unconscious, self-destructive, and addictive pattern that people have, which will ruin their chances of enjoying their lives. The poverty mindset can be brilliant in the way that it will rationalize things, thinking that by consuming less resources, we are thus helping the world out and saving our planet. By spending less money, we become more wealthy and less dependent on money or the world for our survival. Of course, there is a grain of truth in everything. And the best path is to create a world of total sustainability within a conscious, loving lifestyle. Yet the intention of holding back out of fear and not fully honoring your true manifesting power is the greatest loss of all. If you're constantly holding tight onto money, you're creating struggle and strive within yourself and always feeling that you don't have enough. This manifests in many forms. One will show up as your inability to contribute your full, unlimited, unbounded joy into your community. You cannot show up for a wild, free, abundant, loving life purpose if you are holding tight onto anything and living in fear on any level. The feeling of being poor is so terrifying for some people that every thought and action becomes about avoiding that experience. Many people in this world choose to become insanely rich based out of their deepest fear of being broke. This avoidance, however, morphs into another type of poverty consciousness, as it never allows the mind to relax and rest into its divine original nature. Any type of non-relaxed, fear-based thinking is going to have a feeling of poverty connected to it on some level. Be aware that poverty consciousness is a very sneaky beast, and it can show up in your life in a large variety of forms. It may be as obvious as feeling you don't have enough money to pay your rent each month, the paranoia that someone may rip you off, the idea that there is only one soulmate in the world for you, or the idea that you have to eat everything on your dinner plate even if you are not hungry. Just know that if any thought is formed out of fear, it is based in some level of poverty thinking. The first step to transcending poverty consciousness is to find out exactly where it is showing up in your life and in your thinking. It is only through the awareness of these negative thoughts that you can liberate your mind from repeating them. The moment a limiting thought flows through the brain, you must step back from it, see it from a distance, and don't emotionally buy into the story that accompanies it. When you are able to identify exactly where, when, and how you emotionally fall into your poverty-stricken belief system, then you have a chance at moving beyond it. When and how you emotionally fall into your poverty-stricken belief system, then you have a chance at moving beyond it. Yet, you must choose to keep a very close, watchful eye on poverty thinking if you're ever going to get beyond it. when you can see how you justify being stuck, poor, or happily struggling, then you'll be able to find a way to invent a new story about how good it feels to no longer live in a world filled with excuses. People often tell themselves that it's easier to remain stuck and just having enough to survive than to own up to the fact that they are a super powerful manifesting being who can have anything they desire. If they owned that empowering thought, it would either mean their whole life was some sort of failure, or they were a completely stupid and ignorant person. So people make up all sorts of wonderful feel-good stories about their poverty, saying that it's more holy to be poor, or it's not okay to take too much, and this takes up their energy for remembering we have an infinite supply of creativity, love, energy, and consciousness available. These are the ingredients which actually create money. Living in poverty consciousness is living a lie, based in deep denial to knowing the magical manifesting potential energy inside each and every single one of us. The consequences for continuing to believe in such a deep misunderstanding are the experiences of struggle, pain, desperation, and lack. The more money you feel you don't have, the more busy you become to fulfill this need. Poverty thinking creates an energetic distraction from knowing your intimate connection with the God source. The mind is obsessed with being right, and for it to admit how it's choosing each day to remain stuck, manifesting more poverty-stricken situations, would completely destroy it. No matter how rich or poor you are, even if you're a gazillionaire, the ego mind will be addicted to wanting more. It will always tell you that you need more. And no matter how hard you try, you can never completely satisfy the demanding, desiring ego. Its purpose is wanting, 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 and more wanting. This incessant wanting creates the feeling of poverty. So it's important to remember that our ego is not designed to know what true satisfaction is. This is the purpose of the soul and discovering our spiritual nature. The mind doesn't have the time to be curious about this divinity inside you. It wants you to believe it's a lie and that you need more stuff if you ever want to be happy. This lie, that more things equal a better life, is very deep, and if accepted over time, it may cause you to lose sight of your source of true happiness, which is in your life, purpose, and spiritual nature. All the greatest treasures are hidden behind that which we wouldn't want to be with. You're this ultimate mischief and brilliance. All the wisdom, compassion, and treasure is within. So where are you going to hide it? Pamela Wilson. To completely break away from poverty consciousness, you simply choose to commit your life to a new way of being. You have to totally restrain yourself, your brain, to believe that anything is possible. Retrain totally your brain to believe that anything is possible. And trust that the universe is your friend, your best friend, who is always looking out for you. You have to want to believe that you are naturally a powerful manifester, and this world is your manifesting playground. Perhaps the most hidden secret to transcending poverty consciousness is also the most powerful one, which is this. Ultimately, when we can truly relax into the core of our worst feelings of poverty, the peace found in that relaxation contains an unstoppable resource of abundance, love, healing, and creativity inside it. It is only through facing our fear that we can be released from it. What happens is we find a state of total emptiness inside that also contains our greatest fullness. We do nothing and merge with everything. We do nothing and merge with everything. By looking deep inside ourselves, feeling acceptance of our spiritual nature, we can discover this unlimited power to manifesting anything we can imagine. It comes down to dropping out of the head and into our hearts that we finally relax and discover the natural state of abundance within. The heart contains the greatest freedom that is truly freeing and life-enriching. The feeling of great abundance naturally comes when we live from the heart and abide in feelings of gratitude that are already there. Check it out. See for yourself. Imagine what would your week be like if you lived from your heart and only practice gratitude for the life you already have. It's first through accepting the idea that we are enough that can later manifest into the experience of having enough. If you're thinking for 1 minute about what you don't have, it means you've missed 60 seconds of feeling loved, rich, and abundant about what you do have. Poverty thinking is a cheap way of getting scraps of love, which ultimately end up costing everyone in the end. It can be very enticing to stay in as other people around you don't want to leave their habits and thus will give you tons of extra sympathy when you're broke and struggling in the dirt with them. It's all about believing in the lie that you are not an all-powerful manifesting being that creates all suffering. This lie is the greatest lie one can ever make. It is the original missed mark of mankind and is causing us to miss out on the deep source of joy that is at the core of our very beings. So if you will, go to the place where you're not going to be interrupted. I'm sure we all are. And always the first thing that we care to do in these guided meditations is relax our bodies. From head to toe, inside and out, fully relax the body. And you do this by breathing, by focusing on your breath, listening to your breath. Easy in through the nose and easy out through the mouth. What does this do? The body is like a magnetic sponge. It's a wonderful vessel. It attracts everything. And a lot of it doesn't come from you, it comes from out there. And the more we attract our emotions, angers, fears, stresses, happiness, all of those, the body takes on. If you worry a lot, what happens? Have you ever seen this happen? When someone's worrying, stressing, and fearing, you might have grown up in that environment. Worry, stressing, fearing. It breaks the body down eventually. The stress is too much for the body to take care of. And the body is a perfect temperature gauge. And the temperature that it measures is your level of discontent with yourself. And that's what instigates stress, anxiety, fear, worry, unhappiness. So the body, once you know this, feel it, you leave the mind and the ego alone by focusing on the breath. You leave the subconscious mind alone by focusing on the breath. The body begins to relax and let go. You surrender everything because in actuality, none of us have anything. The only thing that we have is the now. Do you think you have yesterday? Those were now moments that are now gone. Do you think you have the future? Focusing on the now is so powerful that it calms the body. And being in the now stills the ego mind, subconscious mind. You don't have mind chatter. You don't have worry. You don't have stress or fear. It's super powerful, being in the now. If someone were to ask you, hey, Fred, what are you going to do tomorrow? What do you got planned? And Fred, of course, is in the now. Fred responds in a respectful way, I have no idea. You see, I live in the now. I live in moment to moment. I have no concern about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. I have no concern about yesterday. Yesterday is gone. I'm only in the now. And being and practicing being in the now changes everything. You're not hurried. You don't become attached. And you don't have expectations. So you don't suffer. Isn't that amazing? And you begin to journey more and more deeper within. And then eventually, you discover the God that you are. And as you do this, all of this muck falls away from the body. It leaves. Can't stick on anymore. It is imperative also, when we're in the now, to be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with ourselves at all times. No matter what's out there, no matter what's whirling around in that storm outside. And to be in the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude. So when you're in the now, you're at peace. And when you're in the now, the ego mind is trying to figure out a way to get you out of the now or in the future. Wants you to be in the future or the past, but not the now. You see, because the now, the ego mind knows darn well that it would not exist in the now. So think about this. Just think about this. We've got tens of millions of thoughts, which are basically programs, running by us, flying by like clouds in the sky. They're never ending. We generate, each of us, over 60,000 plus thoughts a day. And how do you know they're your thoughts? Your thoughts you create and send out to the universe. All other thoughts come into you. So this is, you're right, you're in the now, okay? You're in the now. And you're at total peace. And no worries, no stresses, no fears, no anxieties, no attachments. No expectations. You're at peace. You're in bliss. You're in joy. And then all of a sudden, all these thoughts start coming in. And they're so real to you because they have your name attached to them. And understand, you are not your name, your character, your personality, or none of that. You're the God within that body. But they're tricky, and they're slippery, and they're sneaky. So a lot of us will be pulled out of the now, and we float off. We grab onto one of these clouds, and we float off in these different thoughts. Some of them we just don't feel that comfortable with because we just don't believe that. Heck, we all say this. I've said it. I'm sure a lot of people have said it. This cannot be my thought. This is not my thought. And when you do that, the thought just kind of passes through you and out. So it's gone. When we understand this, and when this happens to us, because none of us are exempt from it, then we say, not a big deal. I'll focus on my breath, and again, I will be in the now. Now, we stand on three paths in this life. There's three paths. Oh, there might be different variants, so on and so forth, but we all end up on these three paths. The one on the left is the past, the one on the right is the future, and the one you're standing on is the now. Now you notice one commonality to all three of these paths. You notice that the one on the left, the past, is very worn. You notice the same with the one on the right, the future. Now these paths are basically identical except for the where. You see these trees that have formed a canopy. And the trees are shimmering golden leaves, the bark, everything. And then the path itself is a brilliant emerald green flaming grass. Appears to be grass. Now, the one in the center, it's like the now is brand new. Brand new. Most of us in this life ignore the now because that's why there's so much pain, suffering, guilt, doubt, worry, and fear. Because most of us are either in the past or in the future and completely ignore the now. Now, we all reminisce and we all have, we have memories, which are fun, nostalgic. And we never know when they'll come up or bubble up and we start reminiscing about certain things. Could be any catalyst. Could be a place you're driving to or a place you're walking. Or it could be just you're walking around the house and it just hits you. And we all have libraries. These libraries are massive. They contain all of our past lives, future lives. They contain everything because the subconscious mind, which is your library, copies everything. Copies everything the mind ego does and replays it. Think about that now. Right? Not only that, it absorbs every thought, every action that it sees or feels. So from the baby body through right to this now, your subconscious mind has absorbed massive amounts of information that really have nothing to do with you in this life. Because it's other people's experiences. So this vast library, we'll go in there and we'll turn on the light and we'll get our movies and books and pictures off the shelves. We'll sit in the easy chair and we'll reminisce. And we watch the movies of that past, in the past sequence. We'll even look at some things that we experienced that no, I won't do that again. But the interesting thing is we leave. We put everything away. We turn off the lights and shut the door. and we move forward. We're always moving forward. But some of us, unconsciously, will stay there too long. And before they know it, they end up bringing that past into a future that doesn't exist, creating that future from that past, reliving that past and that future. And this is why a lot of people will say, no matter what we do, we always end up here. Now, what about the future? What happens? All of us, none of us are exempt. We do wander into a future. Now, we're creating the future in the now, right? So the future that we go into is basically the land of what ifs, or whens, or how. And we pursue this constantly through this life. And we ask ourselves, what if this would happen? I wonder what would happen if this happened. And what if this happens? And we ask ourselves, when am I going to meet my lifelong romantic partner? When, because we all of us have thousands of soulmates on this planet. It's not just one. There's many. Or when am I going to be wealthy enough to enjoy my life? When am I going to be well enough, healthy enough to enjoy my life? No, we all do that. Different ways. But it's in the future. It doesn't exist. Which causes what? Expectations, attachments equal what? Suffering, disappointment, anxiety, anger, frustration. So the now is all there is. All there is, the now. And we also know that we're not this body. And what we view in this body that we're in are these balls of light. They're beautiful, bright, vibrant lights, nothing like on this planet, way beyond that. And there's 7. It goes from the tailbone to the top of the head. What the heck are they? Well, on this planet, they're called chakras. Definition of chakra is wheel. These are wheels of light. They're spirit, etheric energy. Now, the gods that we are in the body are spirit, etheric energy. The most powerful energy of all energies that there is. And we flow through these. And it allows us, the gods that we are in the body, to know these bodies right down to the quantum quark. Everything. Emotions, organs, character, personality, all of it. So we will discover, as we continue within the journey within, that we will understand that we are the God in this body, that we're not the body, but however, we can heal these bodies that we're in a blink of the eye. We're not there yet, but we're heading there, and we will be there. We enter these bodies, these baby bodies. We power them. You ever notice the mother's umbilical cord, of course, the nutrition is energy, but her soul is what powers that baby body. Then when the umbilical cord is removed, her soul disengages, your soul takes over, and then your soul powers that vessel. All things come online, and then you breathe. So we, all of us, are the kingdom of God. We are the God source, however you label it. Pure consciousness. And the body is earth. Heaven on earth. Heaven's not a place. Your heaven. And every step that we take, we are creating paradise. We are transforming this planet into a God planet paradise. Literally. Do not let your ego mind during this transition fool you into believing the opposite. Not only that, we're shining our light. The light is what? It's what we're made of. Love. The highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, and purest of the purest purest. Eternal love. And we're flooding this 24/7, infinity and beyond, to all life, the highest supreme value in the universes. Everywhere. In us. Around us. Through everything. Around everything. Embracing all things. Nothing and everything. There's no escape. So if and also understand, when you understand that you are the light, the love, when you decide to leave these bodies, you will know this. And so therefore, the constant spell and matrix illusion of the light pursuing you to enter it, the trap, that's a trap of the matrix, will no longer exist. Now, if you were to take a starship off planet, far enough out so you can see the whole planet, you would see that it glowed. I mean, for goodness sakes, there's 8 billion gods in humanoid form emitting their light. And then we're not even thinking about all of the other physical forms that gods are inhabiting to experience. So if you looked at the lights around the planet in this universe, you would see that they would appear to be candles lit in dark rooms, which would be dim, dim, dim in comparison. So there are parts of us that we are aware of that are asleep. We love them just as deeply and dearly as we love the ones that are awake. It's just they don't participate. They're always with us, but they don't participate. They'll determine when they decide they want to wake. And the other parts of us that are awake, consciously aware to a certain extent, and there's just, it's endless. The parts of us, I don't care if it's 1,000 billion light years away, we're one. Once we get that through our understanding that we're all one, and we're not the body. The body is temporary. Whether you live to be 5,000 or 10,000 or 20,000, eventually you're going to leave the body. So this is all the light energy beings and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And the numbers, they're not countable. You could guess, a googolplex, one googolplex fills this universe. with not even 1 square inch of sacred space to spare. These are trillions of gigaplexes from trillions of directions, from trillions of universes. This is the archangels, the cherubim, the seraphim, and the archetypes. Ascended masters: Kuan Yin, Maitreya, Buddha, Lakshmi, Ganesh, Gaia, Saint Germain, Christ, Omoya, Abundantia, Pel, Thoth, Yahweh, Yeshua. All the off-worlders, galactics and celestials. All the inhabitants of inner earth, hollow earth, Agartha, and beneath earth. All of our loved ones who have ascended out of body in this lifetime and all lifetimes that we've inhabited. Now, the light energy beings, we don't, with the eyes we have with these bodies, we only see 1% of what is. We don't see the light spectrum light energy beings. We don't see those in the infrared, red, the violet, ultraviolet, the blue, the ultra blue, so on. But they do come in shapes, color, sizes, forms, configurations, and they are with us and part of us. We just don't see them. Now there is a group that were very dependent on part of it. These bodies are. And it's the fairies, the sprites, the elves, the gnomes, the dwarves, the trees, the trolls, the elementals or the magics, earth, air, water, fire, ether, wood, mermaid, dolphin, whale, Pegasus, unicorn, centaur, minotaur. Now, you ask yourself, can this body support the God that I am? Or, so you can stay and experience physical life without air, water, fire, earth, ether, wood? And the answer is no. You see how dependent these bodies are on the elementals. Now, the off-worlders, the galactics, the celestials, over 1,000 species, civilizations, travel through the solar system every day. Trillions throughout the universes every day. Now, we're familiar with a small group: Pleiadians, Sirians, Arcturians, Andromedans, Felines, Zeta Reticuli, Anunnaki, Nords, Greys, Draco Reptilian, Golden Pyramidavian. This particular group has been assisting us in our evolution, enlightenment, ascension, freeing ourselves from our own self-imposed bondage and our own self-imposed slavery. Now, the ascended masters, they have ascended into physical form. They have mastered physical form. They have ascended out of physical form and are holding pure consciousness God form. We have ascended into physical form. We are in the process of mastering physical form. We are creating our experiences to perfect our creations. Now, the archangels, cherubim, seraphim, archetypes, they're a civilization that vibrated at a different frequency than we do. This is why we don't see them like we see each other. But we meet with them. We're not always consciously aware that we've met with one, and then other times we are. It doesn't matter. You could come into a few-minute conversation with a complete stranger, but it feels different, Or someone helps you out of the clear blue. Or things that have gone bad reverse and go wonderfully well. Now, it's not necessarily when you're interacting with them that, oh, you're talking, oh, you're an angel. It's after. It's always after. And then when you discover it, you actually move into bliss. But that was an angel. Now, they have been giving us messages for thousands and thousands of lifetimes. And the God within them is the same as the God within us. And what it defines to be is it is an absolutely magna, glorious, splendiferous, fantastic, stupendous, phenomenal, grand to be alive in these bodies. And yes, it is. Because as gods, when we leave these bodies, we do not do any of the things, feel any of the things that we do in these bodies. Okay? We don't see through eyes. We don't make love, we don't kiss, we don't hold hands, we don't eat, we don't drink, we don't sleep. We don't touch, none of that. And you can see how much we take these bodies for granted. They're very seducing to us gods. This is why so many of us move into amnesia as we're zapped, but we just forget. So we come into the bodies to rediscover who and what we are. This is why we stay in eternal gratitude. This is why we stay in eternal gentleness, kindness, generosity, humbleness. Now, they can surround us in tens of thousands or tens of millions. Because of their vibrational frequency, they can house a large number in a small area. And when you choose, you can ask them, and in a blink of the eye, they will surround you. And you will be in bliss. Now, we're all gathered, so to speak, arm in arm, hand in hand, in full compassion, non-judgment, non-ego, non-negativity, stillness of mind, gentleness, kindness, generosity, and humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence, prosperity, abundance. And we're all one. We're all God, and we're all love. And our God force, love, light, energy is in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever, and continues to grow, continues to expand and intensify. We immediately form a white fire circle of light around the equator of this planet Earth, Gaia, Arya, and this now. This light emanates from the gods that we are within these bodies. It is pure love. It is the highest of frequencies. And it floods this planet, head to toe, inside and out, infinity and beyond. Now, it is so bright that it grays out the darkness of sacred space. It would take 1,000 billion suns in this solar system alone to even come close to it. Brilliance. Now we begin to ascend above the planet, and as we do, we're immediately met with this massive ocean of glitter. Now, to describe it, it's not of this planet. So the best way that we're familiar with is a grand fireworks display, a grand finale laser light show, and a grand, awesome ballroom mirrored globe show reflecting light. Except this one is 1 trillion times larger and 1 trillion times more intense. You combine all those, because it gives it, we have kind of an idea, and as you combine all those, and they come together in one massive crescendo, That will bring us as close as we can get to describing the ocean of glitter. Now, we're curious, so we go towards the reflective points, and we notice these tiny microscopic perfectly edged mirrors, which we enter. And as we enter, because we're so curious, we discover that all of us, and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever, are teaching and learning and teaching from each other, ourselves, everything. We're either students and teachers, teachers and students, or both. It's a never-ending experience, just like our journey is never-ending. So we were told that the tree is life, right? But that's not so. The God is life. All life is the God. So the God enters the tree, powers up the tree. The tree sustains the God within it so the God can experience the tree, the rock, the grass, the bird, the cow, the horse, the dog, the cat, the bug, the flies, all of it. God is the life. We're immediately met with the emerald green flaming healing light of Archangel Raphael. This is a column of light that we created to remind us all, the gods that we are within these bodies, that we are the power of healing. We are then met with the violet, blue, purple flaming light of Archangel Michael. This is a column of light that we created to remind us all, the gods that we are within these bodies, of our omnipotent power, strength, and resolve. We are then met with the white fire column of light. We created this column of light to remind us all that from head to toe, inside and out, we are protected infinity and beyond with this white fire armor. Nothing like the armor on this planet, way beyond that. And it emanates from our God, the God that we are within these bodies. Pure, deep, eternal love. It is impenetrable. It cannot be seduced, tainted, weakened, breached at all, ever. So no lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies, no demon possession, no attachment. But only you have the power that if you decide to lower your vibrational frequency, whether consciously or unconsciously, low enough through hatred, anger, greed, fear, manipulation, dishonesty, envy, revenge, jealousy, you will create a breach in your white fire armor, enough so to allow lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies to come flooding in. Then there's all kinds of possibilities. Demon possession, attachment, and so on. Now, if you do decide to do this, you're immediately met with a double column of light. First part of this column is the purple transmuting flame. You can bring it, reminds us all that we can bring in the purple transmuting flame. We can transmute all of these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies into neutral light substance, sending them to pure consciousness where they are, no more. Second part of this column of light is the violet ray. This column of light reminds us that we can bring in the violet ray. Right behind the purple transmuting flame, we can cleanse and purify the area where these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies were, sealing the breach in our white fire armor, restoring our vibrational harmony to the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest of the purest purest, eternal love, gratitude, peace. Then we continue to ascend, and we're met with the golden white pink light. This is a column of light that we created, the gods that we are within these bodies, to remind us all that we are the sun, the sunlight. We are the sunsets and the sunrises. We are the oceans, the rivers, the lakes, the streams, the rain, the rainbows, the trees, the forests, the soils, the animals, the mountains. We are everything, and everything is us. Always have been, always will be, ever, beyond, and forever. So the next time that you view starry-lit night sky, rainbow, rainstorm, ocean view, lake view, sunset, sunrise, it is you. It is all of us. It is each of us, the gods that we are in these bodies. So the next time you do view those, instead of saying, isn't that beautiful, you, through the heart-mind, view it and say, that is the God that I am. That is the God that I am. You could be driving along, looking at something. That is the God that I am. It's a whole different understanding. And it is our natural state of being. Now we continue to ascend above the planet. And some of us decide to step outside our physical bodies and hover effortlessly above them. And the reason we do that is because we can, and it's fun. Now we come across this massive crystalline light tower. This tower is larger than the solar system and beyond. We created it. And in the center of the column, we see this massive oblong sphere. In the center of the sphere, we see this golden white ball of light. And the golden white ball of light is surrounded by numerous multicolored rings that seem to go on through infinity and beyond. This has created this super bright white cloud mist, sparkling electrical, and it's absorbed through our heart minds, right through our heart center. And it's like a warm embrace that never ends. Now we discover that the golden white ball of light is the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest of the purest purest, eternal love. And then, well-being, gratitude, gentleness, kindness, generosity, and humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence, massive, stupendous, spectacular prosperity, massive, spectacular, stupendous abundance. And all of that, we discover, is a reflection of the gods that we are within these bodies. We designed the top of this column so the golden ocean can come cascading down 360 degrees, as it's doing currently, right now, infinity and beyond. This is the purest of the purest, purest, deepest of the deepest, deepest, highest of the highest, highest. Eternal love, saturating, flooding, permeating all life, the highest supreme value in the universes. Infinity and beyond. There is no escape whatsoever. This planet is becoming a God planet paradise. Now we're all drops of this golden ocean. And we also hold the essence of this golden ocean. Golden ocean is the drops of the golden ocean. And the only illusion is separation. Now we see our meditative sphere at set center circle. We all created this sphere. Over 4 years ago, it holds over 1,800 of our meditations in perpetual motion that continue to intensify, grow, and expand. Hundreds of millions of us on and off world, every day, 7 days a week for over 4 years. You can tap into this anytime you choose by moving into the now with your breath, not moving any part of the body, and being. And yes, you are awake. Each moment there is an awake, aware energy here now. Know that this cannot change. Rest deeply in this knowingness. It will create a transformation in your being. It is exactly what you will need today. for transcending your very next unconscious momentary lapse of mental jargon. I'll join you in the meditation. Return to close us out. Take an easy breath in through the nose, and an easy breath out through the mouth. Move slowly or stay still. This moment contains everything. Surrender to it. And guess what? You'll actually get the whole universe with it. There is an extraordinary depth to any seemingly ordinary life. Take this with you for the rest of the day, and for the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here Sunday, February 20th, 2022, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call.